what is the effect of Igbo people's experience with the church?
Igbo people are deeply spiritual, deeply religious. We were living our life, worshiping our God through many gods. But these gods will take you to the supreme God.
This is Ndigbo Viva, the digital heritage community for over 70 million Igbos all over the world. I am Achunike, your host. Let us welcome Reverend Father, Professor Hilary Chukwuka Achunike of Catholic Diocese of Nnewi and Professor of Church History, Religion and Society, University of Nigeria, Nsukka. We asked Professor Achunike what Christianity has either contributed or damaged in Igbo land. Please welcome Reverend Father, Professor Hilary Chukwuka Achunike, and listen to him. Okay, Father.
Good.
I welcome you to Ndigbo Viva.
Thank you.
Our interest today, Father, is we believe that the Igbo people are deeply spiritual people.
Mm-hmm.
What we want to know is what were the last of our people like with regard to our faith, our approach to God, our spirituality before the church came.
Okay.
And then what did the church bring?
Mm-hmm.
Did the church improve what we have? Did it change what we have? Did the church destroy what we have?
A very good question from your own side. You see, the Igbo people, we are very spiritual, deeply. The Igbo people are deeply spiritual, deeply religious. So if you look at people and what they wrote about us, at times it may not be to our own liking, but people saw us that time. We were the Igbo, we were living their life, yes, worship their gods, and interact with people. They use that to train their children, in going to farm, doing some social events, one event or the other. And our worldview is mixed with that religion. Our religion is life, and our life is religion.
Wow. Igbo life is religion.
Yes, of course.
And religion is our life.
Yes.
Yeah. Just for clarity, spirituality and religion, is there a distinction?
Of course, the spirituality, is different from religiosity. Religiosity, somebody can just like religion. Any boredom, they will go, listen to what is happening, try to participate. But then, on the spiritual realm, spirituality, a particular spirituality, deepening your relationship with God, with the unseen, allowing it to enter you deeply and then transform you. And that is why you have very good non-Christians. In fact, at Iseke, when we were seminarians, I went out of my way to get one old man converted. At the stage, he listened to me, but at the stage he called me Mwam Gente Mejoka Mana ife doli anya bụ na ya ma na mmadụ nwunye na ya ma eti ime na ya ma gbu mmadụ na ife ọjọọ ndị ọzọ Igbo na-asọ na ya ga-asọ gbadofa ncha mana ya ma je ụka.
Wow.
Ọtụgharịa sị m na ndị na-eje ụka na-emekwa ụfọdụ ife ndị anya na-asọ. You can see why he's not forthcoming in becoming a Christian.
Yes. So fundamentally, can we now say that the Igbos are spiritual people? Or
they are religious people. They are religious people. But then you can get Ezemo, for instance. He's a spiritualist.
Okay.
He is practicing religion, but he's a spiritualist.
Okay.
If he is the person who is to command or use offer, together with the elders, of course they will do that. Don't just call any young man to come and use the offer to do perform one ritual or the other. No, you don't do that. Okay. It's the elders. But then there is a more, anytime they want to worship God in a deeper way, it is the Ezemo that is invoked who will come, go into the shrine. Some of them that are polygamists, within the 4 days or 5 they will stay in their shrine. They don't eat the food cooked by their wives. One man told me at Azobolo, said, Father, at the stage, I don't eat any food cooked by my wife. I will myself cook and eat my food. Then I asked him why. He said it makes him to be light. It makes him to be deeper. It makes him to be more spiritual. Not that women are bad, but that is a way to distance yourself from the activities or whatever, the hustle and bustles in the world, and then stay on your own with your God and deepen your relationship with God or with the spirits in the case of the traditionalists. So back to your question, we were living our life worshiping our God through many advocates, through many gods. Umobelechi. The thesis written by one Father Esekwu on Chi, the Supreme God. Some people later on intellectualize on that, both priests and non-priests, and then trying to tell us that the Igbo, we have the Supreme God, not just the small gods. But these gods will take you to that spirit, Supreme God. Okay. That's the way.
So they're intermediaries.
They are intermediaries. A really Igbo man will come out in the morning and invoke his chi, invoke the good ancestors, and they ask them to come and help him. Na cheerful, give them what to eat, take care of their children, take care of their family, take care of their farming, and whatever they were doing at that time. We had our own civilization. We had our own way of life or worldview before Christianity came. Then, the Christianity didn't teach us about God. No. God was there. We worshipped God through the intermediaries. And then, worshiping our God, Christianity, the new thing Christianity brought was Christianity self. And then bringing a new brand of religion, which is different from our own people. If you have read Things Fall Apart, you will see that at a stage, some people who became Christians and the priests that time did what they knew best. They created Christian village. Yeah. And the people were housed in that Christian village. Some respected them, some didn't. And in the Christian village, they will come out from time to time to go to church. They follow the kind of regulation. This is the time for morning prayers. This is the time for afternoon. This is the time of evening prayers. Then they will go and do all those. They became Christians, distant from the people in the villages. Yes. As I said, some respected them, some didn't.
The church did not bring God to Igbo land. Listen to the Reverend Father as he reveals what Christianity brought to Igbo land.
The Anglicans were there before us. Anglicanism came into the Igbo land in 1857. And the Catholic Church came much later, in 1885. So we are 125, 30 years
apart.
Yes, I mean the Catholic Church.
Yes.
But the Anglican Church is about nearly 30 years older,
okay.
Than the Catholic Church. But if you look at it the way it should go, you will see that we have different spirituality, different way of worshiping the same God. The Anglicans, maybe they call their own service, but our own is Mass. We celebrate Mass. And in celebrating the Mass, we know we are going into worshiping God. Christianity brought majorly three things: education, healthcare, and then the social betterment. If you look at the education, I speak English and I speak Igbo, but you see the intellect has been developed. Now, not that Igbo didn't have their own way of education. They did, but that's their own way.
Yeah.
But then Catholicism came and brought this education. There is this RBBDT and all that.
Yes.
But the Bishop Shanahan and the rest of them brought education. And this education actually brought a lot of civilization. Our people listened to people speaking English, and then the interpreters, who were mainly the Saru, some of them came back. And initially they became interpreters because they have mingled and they stayed with the white people. They can understand English language.
Yeah.
And initially they were serving as interpreters and the catechists. Then, over time, we had our local agents who became also catechist teacher.
Yeah.
And from there, we continued our own style of evangelization. So the church was there in Igbo land as a new thing. It made some converts. And come to think of it, if the church was not there, how am I going to be a priest? If you look at the number of priests we have in Nigeria, if you look at the number of hospitals and clinics we have in Nigeria, not just Igbo land. For instance, during COVID-19, the Catholic Church alone gave to the federal government 430 to hospitals, clinics, maternities, and all that, just to make sure that they stave off this thing they call COVID-19.
Yeah.
How did they come about that number of hospitals? The hospital they brought was a very good omen, because if our people used to suffer, malaria or other illnesses, but people died of malaria a lot. Through the discovery of quinine, people drank quinine and got better in a short while. People, they saw it as something magical, and people began to patronize. We have yours and the other illnesses that took people to the maternity, the clinics, before the actual hospital. Borromeo this year is to about 60 years. Yeah. Then you go to Shanahan Hospital, 90 years.
Wow.
What were people doing? They were busy going there to get better, to get healed, to get cure of one thing or the other. So, thanks to the church brought Medicare, brought hospitals, brought maternities. Not that others didn't do that. Or if you look at the education too, there was a time federal government was giving the churches what they called grants in aid, financial assistance to run schools. Correct. They were doing that. Of course, the church is much older than the federal government. We can say we became a nation or a country from 1960. But the church was there. Not only in Igbo land, almost around the world, the church is older than many governments, including the American government. It's true. And when we talk about the church, like I'm coming from the Catholic Church, there are other churches, for instance, in the U.S. In fact, President Trump, during his first tenure as a president, praised the Catholic Church for so many hospitals and schools. In fact, he nearly said that without the Catholic Church, America wouldn't have education. The same thing, without the Catholic Church and other churches in Nigeria, people wouldn't have been educated. No matter how, cut it any size you like. You can rain abuses on the church that the church has destroyed Igbo land, but the church brought something good, honestly, something fantastic. And of course, if you look at different countries, not just Igbo land, for instance, Mexico, if you look at India, if you look at the Philippines, and other countries, you will see that the church will come in, the Catholic Church comes in, looks at the culture, try to a kind of sifting, remove what is bad and keep what is good. A kind of Christianizing what is good in that culture. People may like it, people may dislike it, but that is what the church does. In every culture, it's not just Igbo culture or Igbo tradition, no. It's in every culture. And if you also look at what is done in education, for instance, you will see Western education, the way we have it, the Catholic Church played a lot of part in initiating Western education. Some years back, an American billionaire said he's donating $25 million to the Catholic Church, but not for the church to use, but to use it only to develop education. That without the Catholic Church, the Western education we know today cannot exist. And I think the man was right.
Apart from education and healthcare, it will amaze you to hear the next thing the church did for Ndigbo. Keep listening.
So if you look at what the church has done, education, as I said, Medicare, and social betterment or development, our people were killing human beings, killing twins. But when Christianity came, not only in the Catholic Church, in other churches, Presbyterian Church,
any of the Christian churches,
Mary's Lesser, and all that, they helped to stop the killing of twins. Igbo Mazi, Ndigbo Ejima. Na ndị ọzọ bụ ndị a na-eche na ha mere alụ, igbu those people. Ndị be anyị jikwa na mmadụ wee fiakwa alụsị a na-efe. And the alụsị is not the way we see it. It's beyond that. Onye kpatara na memere ụmụ ikolobịa ebele and the young ones. We want to go back to our root. We want to go back to culture. Of course, that concept going back to culture is not limited to Igbo land. It's a global phenomenon.
Yeah.
People want to go back. But then, outside that, there are things that made up the alusi. A priest, even though late now, told me, then with alusi then abefa, due to nafani nejebego oka, umorozo nefe alusi. Can you believe ni no na beggar? Inokata. You see, yes, but nobody comes in. At a stage, a megio nuzo. See, nobody comes in.
Wow.
At another stage, you see somebody trying to peep. Freezing mother. So nobody comes in.
Wow.
They later on found out that the Alosi they called a priest, an old priest, who came and did some rituals with holy water and prayer and other things. But then there is an underlying law for this. There must be a consensus. Maka na Ndigbo na-atụ inu ezu kwanye nwa n'onunu ọdawa n'afa.
Okay.
Ọ bụrụ na enwero consensus in removing or destroying an idol, you are trying to vitiate the culture. Maka ọ bụrụ nke nwa ife anyị na-destroy. There must be a permission through consensus. Unu chọrọ ka ewepụ ife. And some other time, years ago, there was a priest very zealous priest. He thought he was doing something good. Then he took the Archbishop Valerian Okeke, to say, do not destroy what you didn't keep. It's not that the Archbishop is supporting idol worship, no.
He's just guiding the principle.
Omenala Igbo, imam bịa mebie ife nwere a ga-enwerịrị etu isi bata. Ya bụ ife ndị mmadụ na-aghọtara ọfache na ụka bịara na-destroy ife niile. No, it's not true. O nwere ndị bụ retreat preachers who, after preaching to people, the people will say, please come and take this ogwu adina bem ihe ndị ọzọ. Ebipụta ya kpọọ ya ọkụ. But some people think that it's just ordinary religious iconoclasm, destruction of what is there, what you think is not there. Some people have argument that the church came to destroy many things in Igbo land. I don't buy that argument. I don't. If you look at it, the church may have stepped on one or two toes while doing evangelism. But the main thing is, what they did in Nigeria, what they are still doing in Nigeria, they did in other countries, and they are still doing in other countries. So it's not that our own is different. There may be Igbo culture, maybe a Yenine. Of course, there is this true ideology, which I want you to also know. The Catholic Church goes into the life of the people, the culture, to try to know whether there is something they can remove to continue this. Example, also. Onwere onye dị ndụ n'ala Igbo ga-agwa gị mgbe ọzọ bidoro. Not possible. Nobody knows the date. Mana ndị Igbo na-eme alụsị. Ine anya kịta ife ndele here about Ọka Etiti. Ọka Etiti enwere ozi ndị na-agụ alụsị. In this sense, na onye Ọka Etiti ọbụla ifuru kịta sị na ya na-anachighị azụ ije gụọ alụsị. Check emere baptism.
Okay, that's how you go baptized.
Of course. Of course.
And what was the fundamentalists?
What was it? So the last, look at Ọka Etiti, an example of massive response to Christianity. That's what I wrote years ago.
Let me see.
The title, just the title. You see there.
Dreams of Heaven. A modern response to Christianity in
Northwestern Igbo land.
1970 to 1990. That is the Dreams of Heaven.
Yeah.
So this is the...
But it's not a spiritual book.
No, I know. It's a narrative of...
The response. How Igbo people responded to Christianity. Correct.
Yes. And for you, the classical example is Ọka
Etiti, correct.
Ọka Etiti as a town, right? And this book modeled around what Ọka Etiti did, right?
Of course. Some of the chapter is dedicated to that.
Ọka Etiti, So what the book is trying to say is that the interaction between Christianity
and Igbo people
and the Igbo people is an interaction of consensus, right?
Of course.
Not imposition.
No. Not. You can't force people to worship God.
Okay.
Christianity brought about a kind of development, civilization.
Okay.
You build churches, you build parishes, people go to learn a different way of life. People were taught catechism and they received communion. Of course, they initially were baptized, received communion, became confirmed, and then later on got married in the same church.
Now, here the Reverend Father exposed the shocking truth about using force to convert Ndigbo to Christian religion.
The initial thing I wanted to read out for you is what Ayandele said. For instance, he said, the Igbo remained in 1899 a self-reliant, self-contained, incorrigibly insular, independent and blissfully tradition-encrusted people. Not that the wider world did not attempt to penetrate Igbo land, but such attempts from the coasts and the lower Niger were effectively neutralized, partly by geography and partly by the imperviousness of the Igbo cultural milieu to untried insularity. Aberrating influences. Consequently, in their blissful insularity, the Igbo were saved the paroxysmal shocks that were administered on the Ijo and Efik by Christian missionaries in the second half of the 19th century.
Okay.
In fact, when the missionaries came,
The man has a lot of big words.
a lot of jaw-breaking words, a lot. You need to, if you read Ayandele, he was entertaining. It was entertaining me, really.
But in
I was laughing.
simpler form, what is he saying?
What the man is saying is that the Igbo, due to the way they lived, were saved the shock which the Efik people
Other parts
and the
got.
Ijo people got. But he said also that by and large, the barrels of the gun made Igbos to submit to the to government and to Christianity. Okay. Because people couldn't make very sharp distinction that time between Christianity and colonialism.
Yes.
Or the British government that came,
Yes,
the Royal Niger Company and all that. They thought they were birds of the same feather,
yes.
flocking together.
They were flocking together anyway.
Initially it appeared, but the missionaries had their own style of approaching the people.
The key takeaways.
This episode with Reverend Father Professor Achunike has the following takeaways. 1. Christianity did not teach Ndigbo about God. Ndigbo were a spiritual and religious people, fully advanced in the worship of the one true God, in line with a well-developed moral and spiritual tradition before the arrival of Christianity. 2. In addition to being an alternative religion in the Igbo society, Christianity brought three major things: education, modern health services, and an all-inclusive social welfare system that eliminated prevalent superstitious practices in Igbo land and improved the status of women. Father Achunike, however, noted that the Europeans and early missionaries made costly mistakes, including the use of force and the destruction of historic artifacts in the process of implanting Christianity. Reverend Father Professor Achunike insists that the Igbo people are grateful for Christianity and have continued in the practice of the Christian faith as a religion of choice by massively belonging to the Catholic Church, the Anglican Communion, the Presbyterian churches, and the various Pentecostal movements. Here, in Ndigbo Viva, your digital palace for a global Igbo spirit, we urge Ndigbo to maintain a strong spiritual and moral hold on life. Igbo should continue to honor our great ancestors and pray for the positive transformation and unity of the global Igbo family. Now, go to the comment section. Give your opinions and send questions on how Ndigbo can restore and deepen our spiritual heritage while maximizing our Christian values. Never forget to call upon the millions of Igbos worldwide to come and drink from this fountain of Igbo wisdom. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let's go to 100,000 views a month and 10,000 subscribers.